All right. Cool. I'm just gonna check that every time. Fuck it. All right. Back to it. Um. Oh, Buddy's about to do something. Stands him up, but before he does that, if you notice, Cole is very responsible about keeping one leg in the middle, as some type of hook, and then yeah, let me undo that, please. He always, well, not always, but he's really responsible about keeping Will's body away. Oh, sorry, I was about to say Will's foot on his stomach. No, his foot on Will's stomach to, keep space between them and allow himself room to pummel his legs in, which pretty good. Every Almost every good leg locker before they actually get into a deep leg entanglement will unlock their legs to do some form of that in order to keep their opponent from hand fighting. 50-50 is a good example of that. Go look at Lachlan Giles if you want to learn more. Yeah, Will's on the up and up. Looks like he was 16 in 2021, or yeah, so or some an age around there, which means he's probably about my age, maybe a little younger, which means he's also about Cole's age since we're all roughly the same age. Um, Will finally pulls into his half guard, almost like a quarter guard position, but Cole's a really good passer. Gets his grip on the top pant leg and the collar, looking for this X pass. Will sits up to defend it. So it's like sit up guard position. I think he should have kept his foot on that other leg. Like right here, I think without a post like this, it actually becomes really hard to use any form of like sit up guard or like shin on shin position because your opponent can just move around way too fucking much. But he loses it. I believe he tries to elevate Cole instead with a butterfly hook, and it just doesn't work out. Right now, he's kind of in like this reverse half guard position, almost like a pigeon pose. I would be in so much. I don't know. I'd be in a decent amount of pain right now in that position. Fuck that. But Cole just backsteps his leg and starts looking to pass normally, almost into a long step. Nope. Cole's just keeping space, being defensively responsible, looking to set up his pass. Neither of them giving up head position. I'm not even going to try and score this shit. Fuck all that. Will absolutely refuses to go supine when it's not on his terms. Getting into a K guard knee shield. Pretty strong. He has his color sleeve on the far side. Marigali played it on that side too. Um, Not as popular as having it on the near side. Then he takes his. I guess uh, I've been thinking of a name for that. Only thing I can think of is a split collar sleeve in reference to when you have this grip and this grip instead of this grip and this grip or this grip and this grip. Um, a lot of people just call having like these two grips or like these two if you're playing it on the far side collar sleeve as well. I believe. Don't quote me on that one. I'm not a gi expert, but like that's just confusing to me at least. So I'm calling this shit split collar sleeve from now on in my head. Officially, unofficially, I guess. Goes Cole postures up, so Will throws in his De La Hiva hook. Pretty standard decision making. Keeping the far sleeve grip. Any like upper body grip from De La Hiva is decent, but you need something. You need something. Getting 2 feet to the inside. Cole goes for like this pigeon pose kind of pass. almost like a long step. That's probably a better name for it. But uh, Joseph, he's actually really good at it, and Craig. I believe he learned it from Craig. But basically, and this was actually a long step. I misspoke. To do the pigeon pose, your goal is to get this knee, and it looks kind of crazy, but I promise you, your knees and hips will be safe. You want to get it to the ground in front of the opponent's knee. That looks off. Um, but you basically like drop it to the ground into a pigeon pose. Pigeon pose is just a stretch from like yoga or some shit. And then you look to start freeing your foot after that. You look to gain some upper body control and then free your foot after that. Um, there's a video on the B Team YouTube channel that's like the perfect example of this, where Craig is teaching Joseph. I believe it's called like Craig teaches Joseph the dark arts of something or other. Um, just look. Kenta's in the video as well. That's how you'll be able to recognize it. I just look up Craig Jones, Joseph Chen, B Team passing, and you know what? I'll do it right now because it's a really good video. Cool, I'm still capturing it. Not this one. This one. Yeah, I was right about the title. But yeah, that's the one. Let me make sure the pen still works. Cool. That thing's wonky sometimes. Alright, back to it. That's a really good video. Alright, he goes for a long step. Difference between a long step is you drop your hip to the mat, not your knee, but they're functionally very, very similar. A long step is just a bigger movement. AOJ, I mean, they like the long step, obviously, because of Hoffa. But Will inverts to defend against it, which I think is pretty smart. So Cole almost goes for double unders for half a second there, or some type of under the leg passing, which is usually your best option when your opponent starts to invert, if you choose not to stack them and start going into bolos or some form of back take. They're playing a little bit of patty cake. Will looks to stand up, and this is actually like a really important dilemma you can play. Like Will stands up, so Cole like leans forward a little bit, and he's not really worried about the space, you know, beneath his upper body that he's creating. Nicky Ryan and Gordon Ryan do this a lot from butterfly guard positions or half butterfly. They'll like stand up, not like this, not the way that Will did it, but they'll stand up like onto one knee. So they're kind of in like a split squat position, and then they'll drop back down to their hip and use their butterfly hook to elevate their opponent. You've probably seen it before. But basically, yeah, Will fakes like he's going to stand up and then uses the space it creates to get into his guard because Cole looks to follow him up. It's really great. You should always be playing between heisting and guard. Your guard becomes 10 times better when you know how to wrestle. PJ Barch is a good guard player because he knows how to wrestle. Joseph Chen, good guard player because he knows how to wrestle. Gordon Ryan, Nicky Ryan, Craig Jones. The list goes on. Will doing a really good job of staying square with Cole, causing a lot of problems with him. He's really trying to force his deep half game. Cole's doing a good job of countering it with like long steps, refusing to leave his foot trapped in between Will's legs, trying to force this X pass. But Will's inverting and throwing a K guard hook in, which is making it really hard for Cole to circle to either side. Because he just, inverts. I believe I've talked about this before, but it's called leading edge, and it's basically like It's pretty simple. You want to control the side the guard players, the guard passer is circling to. So Cole's circling to Will's right. So you know, Will is focused on controlling the right sleeve and getting his K guard hook onto Cole's right hip. I think this is one of the first things I taught you about guard retention, actually, but do it every single day till the day you die. It's one of those things. It's like making sure wires aren't hot when you open a box. You want to do it every single time. It doesn't matter if the breaker's off, whatever. Maybe the right breaker isn't off. No, it's just one thing you do forever. Once again, getting into this K guard with like a split collar sleeve, um, keymaster type of position. Cole plays the same thing. Goes for a nice little knee cut from X pass grips. I will say this has nothing to do with the position they're currently in, but like I actually don't need the pen. I'm just gonna talk. Knee cut as a pass by itself, unless you have like strong grips, it works better in the gi, obviously, because you can stay stickier to your opponent. But like knee cuts, cartwheel passes, those two things right there, by themselves, they aren't the greatest guard pass in the world. I guess you can apply this to a lot of guard passes actually, but if you just use them as like a form of movement to get reactions out of the guard player, they're actually very very useful. Like a lot of the times, I remember when I got lazy and I didn't like feel like guard passing, I just like start doing cartwheels over people, and then like just try and force half guard off of their reactions because that was my favorite position to pass from because I was lazy, and I knew they'd like have to turn to face me, and they'd usually extend their feet away from their body, so then I could start stuffing one in between my legs and start trying to force half guard. It didn't work that great because I was kind of shit at guard passing. I'm still not the greatest. I need to work on it. But that's when it started like to click. Like, oh, like this can be useful. If I chained it with like under the legs passing, which I didn't know how to do back then, or over under passing, which I'd barely started learning. This is when I was training at Rise. Actually, Coach Art there, he's the one who taught me over under passing. God bless him for that. I love the over under. I don't need to go on that whole rant right now. Let's get back to the video. But they're useful as movement. And this is exactly what I was talking about earlier with controlling a guard player's top pant leg. So it's going to be really hard for him to recover his guard if he can't get this foot back in, because unless this foot's like hooked on Cole's far hip, it's probably the best place for it. It's going to be easy for either Cole to circle north-south or force half guard, which are like, in my opinion, the two best positions to secure a pass from. Cole controlling Will's head the whole time. There's a reason why like guard passing is almost easier in the. It's harder but easier at the same time in the gi, because you have this like big old collar that's like gives you a bunch of different grips you can use to control the guard player's posture, but you should always be trying to control their posture when you're passing. Like your goal is to control their head. That's like the number one thing you can do. In nogi, like a collar tie, it's okay. Reverse collar tie, awesome. Over back grip, awesome. Same things apply in the gi. This reverse collar grip, awesome. A normal collar grip, awesome. An over back grip, awesome. They're all way stronger in the gi. Then you can just choose to control the top or the bottom pant leg. Sleeve grips are okay, same way that in nogi, wrist pins are pretty good. Sleeve grips are just the equivalent in the gi. You just have to be conscious of the fact when you have a wrist or sleeve grip on someone, they kind of have a wrist or sleeve grip on you at the same time. But yeah, you see Will's having a really tough time recovering his guard or getting any attacks going because his top leg is getting controlled. I'd be trying to force half guard if I was Cole, but I think he's really trying to avoid that because that's what Will wants. Hoffa's saying something to him, or Guy. Not the close. Guy Mendez, the guy. Looks like Will's trying to get into the sit-up guard again. Cole slaps that foot across, looking to circle north-south, maybe get to side control. Hits like half a knee cut. Yep, he's in north-south now, but Will does a really good job of inverting and getting his feet back to the inside. This is some beautiful guard recovery from Will. Terrible camera angle, but he gets his feet in. Pulling grips are more useful. This is a bad place to show it, but a lot of people, they'll teach you to like frame on the opponent's shoulders or like get your elbows in this kind of into their armpits and like push them off of you, but that's like, it's really fucking bad and it doesn't actually help you recover guard. Like you can do it for half a second, but actually the important thing, and I learned this from Lucas Kennard, he probably has the best like north-south recovery in the game. And oh, I put my mug on my charger, not on the cup rest thingy. Ryan Hall's also really good. From north-south, used to play an inverted guard with cross grips a lot of the time, but in the gi, sleeve grips are really strong for recovering from north-south, and in no gi, also in the gi, controlling the triceps is really, really important. Either with like, Kennard calls them monkey grips, but it's like your palm would be over here and your fingers would be reaching in this way, just to like open up the space between their knee and elbow and allow you to pummel your feet to the inside. Because generally speaking, you want your foot, this foot, for example, on the far arm to get to the far armpit, so you can just spin back to square up with them, or you can also start attacking triangles and arm bars, but I wouldn't worry about that too much. Or you can get your knee into like, if they really try to like close this down, you can get your knee into the area between their neck and their shoulder and start using that to recover guard as well. Let's see what Will does though. He has a sleeve grip right here, and I believe he has double sleeves on Cole. He has a foot hooked to the far armpit, or sorry, the same side armpit, I think. No, Cole has it pinned to the ground. And then he starts looking to stack Will and get into this duck under position. So actually, this was actually Cole's movement. It wasn't Will's. Will hasn't recovered guard quite yet. Cole calls this a duck under, and is one of his favorite positions to pass from, because it starts to put a lot of pressure on the guard passer. But Will has frames on Cole's neck pretty much. He has a grip on the back of his collar. And I believe he brings his leg down onto the back of Cole's head in order to break his posture. Yeah, kind of kicks him over there, pushes away, and then recovers. Pretty nice recovery, pretty nice defense. But I yapped a little too much from north-south, and that was Cole's movement. It wasn't Will's. They don't want more penalties. Will really doesn't want one because it would make the gap between him and Cole even bigger. Cole pulls close guard. Pretty smart decision. The reason why he went for a shit submission there is because there's a minute 30 left on the clock, right? And he doesn't want to get called for stalling from close guard, because then it would make the score even, since they have 3 penalties apiece, but he's only up 1 advantage on Will. So he kind of wants to stall. At the same time, he kind of doesn't. So shooting up shitty submissions is a decent idea. It's like getting yourself moved off of the shot timer in PGF. Looking to set up collar sleeve. Pulls him back into close guard. He plays this with a pistol grip a lot. I've never really tried them, but they work. Yeah, Cole's being on the defensive side here, but I mean, he's securing his win. You can't blame the guy. Gets into a top lock position. Yeah, he's just defending. Let's be honest. Pretty even match though. Double sleeve position. Last one a knee shield. I believe Ariel Tabat calls that a bicep ride, not a knee shield. But it's alright. Saves himself with a lapel. This is actually a pretty easy way to retain guard. But right here, nope, not right there. He puts his foot. It's a little illegal, but you get away with it now. He puts his foot inside of the gi jacket, and he has a grip on like the lower collar, on like the high lapel, low collar, and he just uses that to create a little bit of tension on the jacket and keep Will away. You can see a flash of it there. Just inverts to retain guard. Pretty important movement to learn. Puts him back into closed guard. Oi! Potentially dangerous for his knee. Probably going for a lumberjack sweep there at the end. Yeah, that was pretty fun. Nice win for Cole. I think there's still a skill gap between them. He had Will beat in pretty much every position, but Will was good enough to keep up with him. I definitely think he's an up and comer, and he seems like a chill guy. Yeah, that's all. Catch you next time, I guess.